Welcome back to Chainmail Chasers, Davey here. Today we're covering a working timeline of the smile.jpg images and every other image they've led to. This is a climax to everything we've uncovered in the past year, a compilation of discoveries and thoughts, and hopefully a way to pave the road forward. We start with our earliest discoveries back in the first two Smile Dog Origins videos. It is unknown which, if any of these images came first, or if they're all simply variants of the same image. The image entity can take the form of all three very readily, and they all share the same background. To jog your memory, the first is the one found on the Something Awful thread, the second is the one sent through the spam emails, and the last was part of a purposeful scare of the channel researcher. These can be reasoned to be the earliest images we have so far very simply. The Paranormal Prickheads page for the Smile chain letters says they've been going around since the early 90s, and the image on the CRT at the bottom is clearly one of these two images. This is said to be one of the earlier images associated with the chain letters, so we can link them to originating in around the mid-90s. Almost every other image we have can be connected to them in some way. Following this is an image we uncovered the origins of in our most recent video. This was originally from the Smile chain letters as well, but was stolen and used on a website called solarplexusclownglider.com that was said to have gone defunct before the 2000s. This makes it plausibly from within the time period of the mid to late 90s. There's another reason it's placed after the other images, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. Now these next two images are unable to be placed solidly in the timeline, as they're not tied to any specific internet presence. Rather, they have appeared in instances where the image entity has assumed control of media. Due to this, they are assumed to be early variants coming off of the first three images, as the entity has only demonstrated the capability to add in permutations of itself as long as they are not too far removed from itself. As a result, if they are present on the internet, they're likely to have originated in the mid to late 90s. Moving on is the updated solar plexus clown glider image. This one we actually have a pretty good date for, as the Prickheads page.
No, I know. There's no reason to trust what it says, really, but... Yeah, like... But you've experienced this before, right? So you should know a thing or two about what I'm dealing with. And sorry, go ahead.
Oh god, we have an Mario. I just ran in. I doubt they even...
Okay, but that doesn't really matter. Like, I'm saying that I think you should probably have an idea of what this is.
Head up the stairs. Okay, back. I'm heading up the stairs. I'm just watching the balcony. You don't get fucking murdered. Alright, which way we want to go?
Oh.
Left.
Oh, fuck. I hadn't...
Page claimed it was popular going into the millennium, meaning it's from just before 2000, but distinctly following the original image taken from the Smile letter. However, we're not done here. With the introduction of this image into the timeline, it allows us to explain our key theory of how this works, and why a timeline with so many images can happen at all. As these images are spread, whatever force that animates them causes natural image loss in different contexts to sort of mutate them, evolving into different images and manifesting different entities. That's why the known image entity can only assume forms that are relatively close to itself. Why early pictures are more similar to an actual dog, while later on they become more abstract and monstrous. In Questions, the image entity describes spreading itself in an analogy of self-reproduction outright. This hypothesis has even more credence when you compare the images. The second solar plexus image, compared to the first, is clearly very similar. The site claims it was just updated to that appearance, but you can tell that whatever happened is no mere Photoshop edit. Same teeth structure, same head tilt, same ominous digits creeping from behind. But some things change. Eyes and teeth are hazy and undetailed, as if mid-metamorphosis. If you compare the first solar plexus image to one of the original images, the idea of metamorphosis still follows through. Same head tilt, same strange upper mouth structure, same lighting, but still very different. It's actually not clear which specific variant it came from, hence the dotted lines. Now if we bring in the last solar plexus image on the site, you can see the same principles carry through. The middle one lightened, now the last one is white and pale. The rings around the eyes have encompassed the entirety of them in the final image. The awkward contorted structure of the snout settles into an upper jaw. Teeth reform. The strange geometric edge on the left becomes even stranger on the final image. Again, these aren't edits, it would be obvious if they were. Oh, and as for the time frame on this one, we know it had to have come from around 1999, shortly before the site went down. Moving on, we hit the 2000s with this image that we only have from the Ice Cream Monkey fan video. This is likely an early variant for a few reasons. The first is using the metamorphosis theory. The lighting on the dog is similar, and in terms of the brightness of the rest of the picture, it seems near identical. The image is not black and white, it only looks like it because of the Windows Movie Maker filter over it. It's likely red, the same as the other dog pictures. They have similar snouts and shadowy bodies as well. The second reason is because the image entity actually affected Ice Cream Monkey fan's video. One of the two mystery images is shown for a split second at the end of it after some distortion that's simply not possible in Movie Maker, and the entity is only present in versions of the image that are relatively close to itself. Then we move on to the ghoul, whose origins are more clearly defined. It has to be from at least 2005 or earlier, since it's described as being from years ago at the time of the video publication. It's a simple case of metamorphosis, most easily seen through the shape of the brow line. The ghoulish features are indicative of still possessing canine qualities. Now we reach the solar plexus email worm image and the corrupted early Jeff, which both clearly diverge from the final website image as told by Paranormal Prickheads. The solar plexus was from around early 2005, considering the edit date on the webpage. Jeff, on the other hand, is from at least 2004. At this point, you can tell how the images changed into the next on your own. Next on the chopping block is the smile.jpg image that directly preceded the Creepypasta's posting to the paranormal board on 4chan. Due to the vast difference in graphic style, it's either a fake or a very late metamorphosis. Granting that it's from around 2005 to 7 due to when it was archived, there could be any number of intermediary images. Regardless, no mental effect is present on this one at all. We're starting to get into the modern era now, where most of the images have been completely sterilized. Here are the two Jeff images, which began to be edited by normal Japanese web users in 2005. The base image for the edits between the corrupted version and the final version is still undiscovered. At an unknown point in time after the solar plexus email worm image, the modern variant on the wiki appeared. There are no iterations of this image prior to this year, but that doesn't feel right. In 2008, the early Mario victim face appeared, as well as the YouTube thumbnail smile.jpg. Starting with Mario, you can tell that it's a far cry from the last image it's connected to. The difference between images here is in years though. Ice Cream Monkey fan said as much. The emails changed a lot over time. With the YouTube thumbnail smile.jpg, this one is just glaringly a fake edit. It's notable though that it did actually come before the Polaroid after further research. And to top it off with the most recent images, both being from late 2008, we have the final Mario image and the smile.jpg Polaroid. The Polaroid was created only roughly a month or so after the YouTube version appeared alongside the Creepypasta, likely due to the first one's faults, or trying to appeal to the mystique of the real image. The Mario face was found tied to the Find Me ARG around the same time. And that's everything we have right now. Any progress from here will be pretty hard, granting that trying to find any even earlier images will have to go through the information barrier that the early internet provides. That said, more in-between images may be found. There are a lot of gaps to fill, assuming the metamorphosis theory is correct. If any of our viewers have any leads, please contact us, but elsewise just have a happy holiday season. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in 2020.